Today we are here to do a check-in on my series TBR progress, and I'm actually very pleased with the progress I've made, kind of in the bigger picture, even though if on a more micro level or like on a book-by-book basis, I don't know that this was my best series reading round, but I feel like it was productive. So even if I didn't love all of the books I read, I feel like it was at least quite productive. So we'll call that a win. So if you will recall, in our last check-in, I set a TBR of 20 books for me to read from the series that I have going right now. And the goal was to read those as well as to make progress in general on the series that I have in flight. So I have been, just to level set on what all is included in this list, I have been tracking the series that I am attempting to complete. So like series that I'm intending to read everything in them. And with that in mind, I say that I just realized I really do need to change one thing. So these numbers are slightly off. Okay, it's gonna bother Mara, but you guys don't probably care about that because there is one series I need to change because I just don't know that it's actually graduated to the point where I'm definitely gonna read every single book in it. But anyway, okay, neither here nor there. That is the intent, at least, of this list, is to track all of the series that I am intending to read to completion. There are several series that I have going where, you know, I would like to read them all, but, you know, I'm not like making a plan to do it, or I just read the ones that sound interesting to me. Like, I'm not always a series completionist. This is focused on making sure that I am getting through series that I start, because I was having a problem where I was just starting a bunch of series and then never actually finishing them. So it's intended to give me some insight and visibility into that to make sure that I'm actually making progress and to have intentionality about adding series as I have capacity to, rather than just like all at once. So I feel like a year later, so I've been doing this now for a year, I'm definitely in a much better place. So if you look at the stats for this check-in, you will see the upper right-hand corner is my total series in flight. If we compared where I was in August 2022 to where I am now, I have gone from 68 series in flight to 48. And of those 48, I think that I only have, I'm gonna say 20 of them where I actually have books that I'm behind in. Like, a lot of them are, the 48 that I have going, actually most of them I'm caught up with. I think 28 of them I'm caught up with and 20 of them I am not. So I feel like that is a huge improvement over where I was when I first started this tracking, and part of the whole reason I wanted to track was to make that kind of progress. So I feel a lot better about, I just don't have this huge number of series out there that I've started and have zero plan to finish. Like, I feel like we have checked that goal in this year of saying that I am making plans to finish series. If I wanted to finish all of the things that I have in flight right now and be fully either completed or caught up on them, I would need to read 60 books. And I think at the beginning of this, I needed to read like more than 100. So again, I feel like that's a big improvement. On average, the series that I have going are 6.5 books long. So I do read quite a number of very long series. So I think that, you know, sometimes skews the data a little bit as well. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner graph, you will see that most of my series are in the caught up or completed DNF'd pile. That means that they're either series I completed. Caught up means that I'm up to date on everything that's out, but it's a series that is still being released, so I still have new ones to read. Completed means it's a completed series and I have completed it. And DNF'd is I attempted to complete it and decided that I was not going to do that. So yeah, like you can see, there's the majority of them now are in that completed or caught up category. And the biggest change was that I had 16 series move into my completed category, which I think is a huge accomplishment. So I'm very pleased with that for the last 6 months. And then in terms of my planned TBR adherence, so I set 20 books for a TBR. I think I read 17 of those 20. So I feel like that's pretty good. That's like a 85-ish% compliance rate. And then of the books left to complete all of the series I have in flight, on my upcoming TBR, it accounts for roughly a third of the ones that I have left. So yeah, all that to say, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place by the numbers. If we start looking at the actual books I read for my series check-in this time, so I counted 41 books here. I did have some other DNFs that are not represented here, but I feel like this is a pretty good snapshot. If I had to pick the standout book of all of these, it would be The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, just because this was really the only book that I gave more than 4 stars to. I did have a lot of 4 stars this time around, but The Stone Sky, which is the finale to the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, this was the only one that I gave a 4.5 or 5 to. I gave this a 4.5. So that's why I feel like I did read a lot of things I enjoyed, but this is really the only thing I read that I was like, yes, this is absolutely fantastic. So reads that were good, but not necessarily like superlative. You can see here the 17 books that I did read from my TBR. There were some changes to my set TBR because a couple of books that I thought would be coming out ended up not coming out, and I had another book come out that I didn't think was going to come out that got added in. So it changed a little bit, but like I said, I read 85% of what I intended to, so a pretty good rate there. Like I said, The Stone Sky was the best of those, but I actually didn't dislike any of these ones that I set for my TBR, so we'll call that a win. I also got caught up on several series, so I have a few books here representing the series that I got caught up with outside of that set TBR, as well as some series that I actually ended up finishing that were on my TBR. So I finished 4 series that were not planned for me to finish, but I did go ahead and do that anyway. I also had 2 series that I both started and finished in this time frame. So that was the Tea Dragon Society and the 7 Brides for 7 Alien Brothers series. And then I also started 2 new series that I added to the list. I'm in the middle of the O'Hurley series from Nora Roberts. I have 2 books left to read there. And then the Brother Cadfael series from Ellis Peters I started. I don't know yet if I'm going to be a completionist on it. It may end up going into the partial series TBR category, but for now, I'm assuming that I'm going to read all of them. And so that's like another, I think, like 20 books that I need to read to finish that series. So those were the 2 series that I started in this period. Okay, and then let's talk about my TBR for the next round. So I was supposed to read Framley Parsonage in the first half of the year and didn't. So that means I now have 3 very chonky Anthony Trollope books to read to complete the Barsetshire Chronicles series, which was one of my goals for the year. So I would definitely like to do that, and am going to try my very best to get through all 3 of these before we check in. Definitely before we check in February. I'm hoping I finish these in 2023. The other books that are rolling over from my previous TBR onto this one are the 2 remaining books to finish the Year 1 Chronicle from Nora Roberts, or what is it? The something of the one, I forget. Anyway, it's Blood and Magics and The Rise of Magics. Blood and Bone and The Rise of Magics, I think, are the 2 books that I need to read for that. I own one as an ebook, and I need to get the other one from the library. So those are the 2 that takes care of the ones that I didn't get to in my TBR this time that I'm rolling over onto this TBR. Then I have a goal to finish the 3 series that I have going right now that I just need to read 1 book to be able to finish them. All of them are duologies, so I basically just need to read the final book. So that is The Long Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I just realized all of these are YA. This is a YA action thriller kind of duology. The first one was called The Fixer. I've read 6 of Crows. I am going to read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is to finish out that duology. And then there's also one, the finale to the Warcross duology from Marie Lu that I'm going to get from the library. Then my kind of like bigger fantasy goal for this time around are the 2 books to finish out the Greenbone saga. So Jade War and Jade Legacy, these are both very chunky big boys. So we'll definitely need some time to get through these. So they are really the only chunky ones I have on my TBR. There was a new Kate Daniels Wilmington Years release that came out that I have not yet read, so that is on my TBR. And then, so those are like my higher priority ones. I would also like to make some progress in the Karen Rose Romantic Suspense series, so I'd like to read at least 2 of those. That is one where I've gone through and marked the ones that sound interesting to me, so I was going to be a completionist for it, but I'm not anymore. And so I'm just trying to get through the ones that I have marked as wanting to read. There are going to be 2 more entries in the In Death series by the time we check in. So that is a series that I am fully caught up on, even though it is in the 50s. So I want to stay on top of being caught up with it. There's a release in September, and then the next one should be in February. So that is how those always break out. There is a new Murderbot diary coming out in November, so that one is on my TBR. There is a Monstrous that comes out, like a new bind up of it. I think that comes out in November, so I will read that. And then I think the only other one I put on my TBR was the Wayward Children series. There is a new one that comes out every January. I already have my advanced copy ebook, so I will be reading that by the time we check in. I had a couple of other ones that I was thinking about, but I do like keeping the TBR a pretty manageable number because I think there's a lot of mood series reading. Something that I haven't done in this video that I don't think I'm quite ready to do in this one, but I want to do in my February check-in when I talk to you guys about this again, is that I would like to set a goal for what series I want to start, because I think by the time we check in February, I will be in a place where I'm doing really well in terms of the number of ones I have going, and therefore want to start strategically deciding from my TBR which series I'm going to get started with. And that will also be relative to whichever ones I just like accidentally or impulsively start between now and February, as we know will happen if we know me at all. So yeah, that is my intention, is the next time we do this to also incorporate into the TBR some series to get started on. So yeah, I definitely found it very productive to have this kind of tracking. It has helped me be a much more conscientious series reader in terms of not just starting everything and also actually being able to finish some of them. So I think that feels great to me as a reader. The other thing beyond that, I don't know, it's fun. I'm starting to get like meaningful trending data, so that's also fun. And yeah, this has been really helpful to me. I hope you guys enjoy hearing a little bit of accountability from me on my series progress. Whether you enjoy it or not, you're getting it. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what series you have started recently that you've been really enjoying. Let me know what you thought about any of the books that I mentioned in this video. And yeah, I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon.